All right.
All right.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, ladies.
Hey,
Lovely
y'all.
smiles we got there.
Listen. StreamYard is doing us right tonight.
That's
All
right.
right. Welcome, ladies. Good to see you guys again. And we're so glad to be back here in this space, the AM Affirmations Space. You know, someone asked me, why did we retain the name AM Affirmations Space? AM Affirmations, that is. And I said, that's how we started. And that's how people know us. So why would we change it, right, Miss Marcy? What we changing it for?
And it can stand for Almighty Affirmations.
Oh,
y'all know I'm snapping to that.
Absolutely.
And that's all day, every day.
All day, every day. Listen, Miss Marcy, Miss Clavia, I'm so glad to be back in your presence again tonight as we get this recording started. Thank you all for listening, and always remember to subscribe. Okay, see right there, see that button right there where it says subscribe? We need you to click on that to subscribe, because we want you to always, and turn your notifications on so you know when we upload this. Our launch date is coming up very soon. You'll probably see this after our launch date, but nonetheless, we are so excited to be able to bring these episodes to you all. You see our beautiful faces. We are here, and all of our beautiful melanin that's showing in 3D colors tonight. It's showing 4D. I think it's 4D. Whatever, it's showing good tonight. So,
right.
Our topic tonight, my name is Karen Fairweather. My guest is my fellow host, not my guest, my fellow co-host are Miss Marcy Moments. She is our in-house, what word am I going to call her? Our mental health advocate. She's our mental health advocate in-house, but she also has this thing called Marcy Moments on Facebook. Make sure you follow her so you can get some of that goodness that she offers very early in the morning to get your day started off. And then there's Miss Clavia, our other host, Miss Clavia, the chosen one, I call her, also known as #HerStory. Follow her as well, because we all have our collective content that's going on and individual, and we have a lot to share. So make sure you connect with us. Make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications. And with all that being said, let's get into our topic tonight, y'all. Forgiveness. Woo-hoo. Forgiveness.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough one, but when you look back on it, yeah, it's a tough one.
It's still a tough one.
It's not easy. It's a necessity.
Yeah, it's one that requires us to decide to do, right? We have to decide to forgive.
We already
go ahead.
I'm sorry, to forgive, you definitely have to do the work. And doing the work ain't easy.
It's not. It's not. But you know what? In that, there's so much power in deciding to forgive, because we already know we're not forgiving for the other person's sake. We are forgiving for ourselves, right? It's about us. It literally is about us. But when we are all in ourselves and we haven't done the work, Miss Marcy, we think, I ain't forgiving them. Okay, you ain't got to. You ain't got to. Because when it finishes wearing down on you and your health is diminishing and all other things are diminishing because you're still carrying around that weight, that person, whomever that may be, has long, most times, forgotten about it. You are just a memory in their mind, if you're a memory at all, but you are carrying it around with you, maintaining its life. Because that means in order for you to keep that situation alive, you have to continually relive it over and over again to keep it alive. Because if you don't think about it enough, sooner or later it will diminish. You won't have a thought about it, and it no longer has the energy that it has. But when you decide that I'm going to forgive that person, understanding that it's for you and not for them, you totally take back your power. You take back the choice, right? Because that's something I would say in our other space that we were in. That's the one thing that we have that no one can take away from you, and that is your choice. Your decision to choose what it is that you like to do for yourself. So I'm not going to be the one to start this discussion tonight. So if my Miss Marcy or Miss Clavia, y'all want to take it, and I'll jump in where I fit in on this subject on forgiveness tonight. So take it away, ladies. Take it away.
Clavia.
I'll go. I have some notes, and of course I have a story. Um, Forgiveness. It's what's the word? Forgiveness is boundless. I'm going to share two scriptures. Matthew 18, verse 21 to 22. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Like, how many times I'm going to let him do this and act like it's okay? Right? Here go Jesus. This is Peter, as many as 7 times, Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times. Take out your calculators. He said 70 times 70. 70 times 7. Forgiveness is boundless. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the number, right? I'm going to keep letting you do this and it should be okay, God. And then some people say you're in a situation, what would Jesus do? I don't know, because I'm not Jesus.
No, hello.
You know, and
Hello.
yeah. And I wrote down something else where it takes time. And for me, it wasn't even my burden to carry, but it was my parents, my dad, and he probably may or may not ever hear this episode, but he left my mom after 30 plus years. They're still not divorced, but separated. And it's still kind of, I would say, fresh. And I was angry, and my siblings showed their emotions different than me. My sister would joke, "Oh, you're the favorite child. You're his favorite, so you'll get over it," type of thing. But she said that is why I relocated, because I didn't want to deal with the situation. I didn't want to face what has happened, and I could not face him. And it was actually January of this year, could have been in one of our rooms, that we talked about forgiveness. And I remember doing a prayer and fasting with the church, a week of consecration. And the Holy Spirit said, let it go. Like, it's not even your situation. Yes, that's your dad, but let it go and forgive. And I was able to release him and release the other individual, because it wasn't mine to carry. They're adults, right? And I'm an adult and I have my own thing going on. And it took a lot for me to say, Lord, I forgive him. And I didn't forgive the other person until some months later, where again, it was for me, because I was carrying this burden. And me being divorced, we talked about in one of our episodes of navigating divorce. And I was bashed by him for wanting to separate from my spouse at the time. And he's like naming all these different people that we knew that stayed together but were unhappy. And to look at him sitting me down in his office to talk about my decision to move out of that marriage, and then for him to do what he did in the position he was in the church, for me was a disgrace. I felt deceived by his teachings, so many different feelings, right? And I had to forgive all of that. All the years that I sat in Bible study, all the years that I sat in prayer meeting, and again, great dad. But to look at what has happened after so long, it's like, who are you? Like, I don't even see him the same today, right? We have a relationship now better than we did over the past 5 years, because again, I had to separate myself for my own mental health, right? To not be this angry person that I was during my marriage. And I didn't want that to his ending his marriage to affect me and even my children. And they may not even know the whole of why grandma and grandpa are not under the same roof anymore. But I had to forgive him. I had to let it go. And there was such a load lifted off of me. And fast forward, even now, it's like, if something else happened, do I forgive again? I have to, because if I want the Heavenly Father to forgive me, again, going back to the source, how much more than I have to forgive these people that I see every day, right? Do I forget? No, because I'm human, but it's a boundless act. So yeah, it's hard.
I
This stuff is hard.
love that part about you saying that. Do I forget?
Oh, we don't forget, because we human.
No. No, we don't forget. We don't forget. And for me, not forgetting is me remembering the lesson. It's not about the person that I'm not forgetting. It's me
Yeah.
remembering the lesson, remembering the experience that I had in that interaction that got me to the point of needing to forgive.
Yeah.
I'm not forgetting that. I may or may not see you on a regular
Right.
basis.
Right.
Especially if I do see you on a regular basis. Do I forget? Do I act like it all didn't happen? Because I don't know about y'all, when I was growing up, that's how you were taught. All right, now y'all kiss and make up and act like it never happened again. Hold on. No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing
Yeah.
that, because if we act like it didn't happen, it's almost like giving the person permission to violate all over again, because you're acting like it didn't happen. Kiss and make
Hmm.
up and just put it in the past, forget about it. No, we're not forgetting about it, because there's a lesson there that we should, and for our life, hold on to, because we experienced it. It took us to a place. But forgiving them, absolutely, because that's for me, not for them. But
Right.
forgetting, I'm not going to give you that kind of access, that kind of permission anymore, because as a result of my choices, I'll own it, right? This situation had happened. You decided to do what you did based on the interaction. But I'm not going to forget. I won't forget. There's some things in my life that I just won't allow because of the lessons. So I love that part that you said about the not forgetting. I'm not going to
Yeah.
forget what happened, because yes, God asked me to just let it go, to forgive. Oh yeah, but even Jesus didn't forget what was happening, right? He didn't forget those things that were done, but they were forgiven. So I'm going to forgive you, but I'm not giving you access to me anymore. I don't have to be in your presence
Hmm.
anymore. And if a situation arises where I do need to be in your presence, will I be cordial? Absolutely. Might even give you a hug and say it's good to see you, but I haven't
Hmm.
forgotten. Let's be
Right.
clear. I have not forgotten. So just wanted to interject that part.
Yeah, and even, I mean, you mentioned the forgetting part too. We talk about us being human and not even over spiritual or super spiritual. Yeah, Jesus
Mhm.
throws it into the sea of forgetfulness. So even when we go to him, Father, forgive me, he's like, I already forgave you of that 10 years ago. Like, let it go. That type of thing. But us as
Right.
human, like you said, if I'm seeing you every day, do I swallow that? Because for me, I had like these these just negative thoughts. Like if I see you, I'm gonna trip you and make sure that I'm not helping you get back up. Those are the type of things, and I'm like, God, release those thoughts because I was taken to that level, and I'm like, that's not even you, girl. Stop it. But
Yeah.
again,
That's
I'm
when the
human,
70
right?
times
I'm
7
human.
has run out.
There it is. There it is.
Right.
You know what? You didn't try it because you did 70 times 7 plus 1. That last one, nah, no.
Oh man. So Marcy, let's hear you. You know, I want to hear your because I know you definitely have some experience with the act of forgiveness. And how
So
long did it take?
a long time. There was
Yeah.
something happened. Um, it could have jeopardized my career. Um,
Mm.
and I held on to that grudge for a whole year. And then one day, it was several things that happened, but I remember because I live in the DC area, the DMV, and I remember so vividly. I was in Shoppers, and the year anniversary came around, and two of my girlfriends always called me and teased me about it. Um, and I was like, "Mm, mm, mm, mm." Okay, I was still mad on the anniversary, and I was at Shoppers, and there was um a gentleman to the left of me and about three people to the right of me. And they were all within they were all like maybe 70 feet away from me. And I heard, if you can't forgive her, why should I forgive you?
Mm.
I turned around. I said, it was the voice of God. So it was a white man to my left. I said, nah, that wasn't his voice. I looked up. There ain't gonna shut up wasn't their voice. And I was talking to my girlfriend. I remember I was talking to my girlfriend Marlene. And I said, yo, I gotta go.
Mm.
He was very clear and he told me, because I didn't want to forgive this person.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you don't forgive them,
Yeah.
how can
Yeah.
I forgive you?
Right.
Um, and the thing, the crazy thing, not crazy thing, but before then, I went and got a yoni steam and from my sister Mayasa, and she said, write down three things you need to let go,
Mm.
and write these things down. And she said, and I'm gonna burn them. And Mayasa was not on social media a lot at all. As I walked away, I looked at my IG and she was burning. Um, she was in the process of burning of the things that I wanted to let go.
Mm.
So I knew it was God's voice, period.
Mhm.
But also it was God's voice. And then I went to social media and I seen how what I wrote down, because I said I wanted to forgive, but I wasn't taking the steps. Let's be honest, because that's 70 times 7 plus
Right.
1. I was at the plus one and I didn't care. Um, but so, but I wrote it down, and but when it was burnt, it was God had said this was the time that you have to forgive.
Mhm.
And from that day forward, never forgetting
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that day, because it was a I went to jail
Mm.
because of somebody.
Mhm.
But let me tell you, with that, how about in jail? I was a prophet. I prophesied. I was a
Mm. You were
sign language.
used.
I was a sign language
Wow.
interpreter.
Oh.
I got a group of women that was in there from assault with a deadly weapon, drug charges, uh, all kinds of craziness. I'm like,
Everything
for
could
real,
think
God?
about.
Right.
Wow.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we got in a circle and we prayed.
Wow.
Wow. He could use you anyway,
So,
huh?
and God's
Absolutely.
hand was all over that day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, the police officer who had to transfer, like I was in shackles and everything. The police officer that had to we went to school together. When I went to get processed, the guy the first person who processed me was I was actually his daughter's godmother. Um,
Wow.
yeah, when I got
Wow.
out, when I went up into the elevators, because mind you, I had no I had nothing. I think my makeup was on. I was ready to go to work, and then all hell broke loose in my household. Um, and of course, you don't have a phone. So when I went up the escalator steps,
Mhm.
my girlfriend Marlene, one of her girlfriends was there with a phone, and I was able
Mhm.
to call my husband at that time. My husband and my son was there
Mhm.
at that time, and they were able to come and get me. And like now, how God orchestrated it. Like I could have. I mean, yeah, I had handcuffs. I had shackles on my feet, but I I got special privileges.
That's favor.
And, and right,
That's
and at that time, that wasn't what I felt, but also I always remember the year later, and I still when I heard it was nothing but God, and He
yeah.
said, if you don't forgive them, how can I forgive you?
Mm.
And that thing shook my entire soul. So
Wow.
and with that, since I am a mental health advocate, let me tell you a little thing about forgiveness. It improves your mental health. Forgiveness is associated with lowering levels of depression and anxiety. It can enhance mental health by fostering positive attitudes and helping people bounce back from adversities. So that's just a little something to remember that, and everybody has to take this forgiveness on your own terms. So, um, don't let anybody tell you how to forgive. Don't let
Mm,
anybody give you the timeline on how you forgive.
that's
But
right.
Mm-hmm.
also understand, if you don't forgive, how is God going to forgive you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listening to you ladies' stories, I love how we are in such alignment. We've had experiences, and they're all of a personal nature, right? And typically, when it comes down to forgiveness, it is a personal interaction, right? Yeah, with your father, and the situation for you, Miss Marcy. For me, it also was a female. I'll just say it was a female for me. One of the situations that I had to make a decision to forgive. And before we go to that, I want to invite our guests to capture the affirmations that are being provided on the screen. They are directly from us, the three of us. Those are affirmations on the subject of forgiveness. Because this is the affirmation space, we want to always ensure that we are providing these affirmations for you, because everyone needs to deal with some type of forgiveness at some time or another. And what better way to speak well about yourself, to talk nicely to yourself, than to have an affirmation that relates to something that you may need to do for yourself, as we have done and will need to do again. I'm sure something will come up again, but we'll have to choose to forgive, right? To get that burden off us. And for me, this friend of mine slept with the man that I was dating at the time, in the house that the friend and I were, sharing. And I can't even tell y'all. I can't even tell. It's a very long story. I won't go into it, but I was completely I won't say destroyed, but I was brokenhearted for in two ways, because it was my best friend and it was the guy I was dating at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was brokenhearted two times, twice. I'm like, what is happening around here? Is the end of the world coming or what? Well, the end of my world as I knew it right then did come to an end. And getting to a point of forgiveness, or even being the awareness of forgiveness, right? Let's say that part, being aware that I needed to forgive because I was so angry, because I was so hurt. I had no awareness of forgiveness in that situation. It was she did this and he did that. It was all them. It was all them. Yeah, they may have committed the act, but I was impacted by it, and I had to make a decision whether, okay, you're gonna keep holding this, and every time she come around, you're gonna be all worked up and burnt up and everything else, or you're gonna decide to just let it go. But I had to come to the understanding, in order for me to let it go, I had to forgive, because I don't know that you truly can let something go unless you decide to forgive them, whether you put a voice to it or not. That you have to forgive them,
Yeah.
because it's just not worth my mental health. It's not worth my physical health. Again, I didn't have any awareness of it to that level, but I know what a burden it was at that time. So choosing to forgive was absolutely for me. The moment I did, it wasn't even, I'm not going to say it wasn't even 6 months later, we crossed paths again. And
Yeah.
I, the Lord was talking to her too,
Mm-hmm.
because we had seen each other times before, and we were really good friends. We were really
Mm-hmm.
good friends. Um, we had seen each other times before, but there was no interaction. But this particular time that we saw each other, um, I saw her approaching me, and usually I would turn away and go the opposite direction. But this time I didn't. I stayed where I was and waited for her to get to me. And she all she said was, "Please forgive me."
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, we've never had a conversation about the incident, ever.
Okay.
That day was the last time that we had spoken a word to each other,
Right.
till the day that she came to me and said, "Forgive me." There was not a word exchange between us. And I'm talking many years. That day when she approached me, I knew what she was coming to say. Either she was going to go into it, elaborate, but I felt it in my spirit that she was coming to ask me for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
When she finally got to me and we, just exchanged the cordials, right? Hey, how you doing? Long time no see, yada, yada, yada. And the next thing she said was, "Please forgive me." I said, "Did so long time ago." did so a long time ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
could see the relief in her face
Right.
because it wasn't a cat fight or anything like that. It was just, I did so, long time ago. That was it. And I didn't need to say anything more. I did
Right.
not need to say anything more. What took place is over with. There's no talking about it. What are we talking about it for? For what? Because most times when people want to talk about things, they want an explanation. Why? I don't need an explanation. It was a decision y'all made. It had nothing to do with me. Y'all made it.
Right.
It impacted me. It affected me, but
Mm-hmm.
y'all made that decision. So there's really nothing to talk about. To tell me you're sorry, what? You think that's going to make it better for you to tell me you're sorry? You're only sorry because you got caught,
Right.
not sorry because what you did. That's how I saw it, right? So as a result, there was no conversation. But that moment that she approached me and said, "Forgive me," she had already been forgiven. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very easy for me to say that to her. Um, there was not, and there hasn't been another word exchanged between us since then, and that was many years ago. So unfortunately, something just hit me. I was about to say that friendship we had. I'll say the friendship I thought we had,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it was a friendship. I don't know that she would have, in good conscience, been able to violate like that. So the friendship that I thought we had, it dissolved that day. It
Yeah.
dissolved that day. And when she came back, we were able to exchange words to each other kindly, and that was the end of that. It never came up again. I do reflect on it from time to time, because I always want to take ownership of what belongs to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did see some areas where there were some red flags that I
Right.
decided to turn a blind eye to.
Mm.
So there's my ownership in this situation, right? Oftentimes in a relationship violation, we'll want to be mad at the female. Why you're not mad at the man?
Right.
Why you're not mad at the man? And not that I really needed to be mad at him, but I thought about it that way. Why you want to be upset with him? Because mind you, he and I went back to dating each other, but she and I never uttered another word to each other. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking, okay, something's out of whack with this. So in taking ownership of my part of that breakdown, there were red flags.
Yeah.
I either was just too naive to really understand what was being done or said in front of me, or I turned a blind eye to it because I didn't want to take ownership of it. I didn't want to acknowledge that there's something ain't right here. You better
Something
pay
ain't
attention.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And how many times has that happened for us,
Oh yeah.
especially in relationship situations? That red flags are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're so happy, we're so excited, about this situation. Oh no, 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 that could never happen to me. Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
I definitely was witnessed it, I would say, with my mom. And just joking, sometimes she doesn't really talk much about it. I think even during her healing process, she said certain worship songs that would be sung by my dad, she was like, that was not to God. That was to that lady sitting over there with her short skirt on. And
Oh
she saw
dang.
signs. And she had, a group of women that, let's say, had her back and used to tell her,
Mhm.
be careful. I don't like the way, certain things were
Yeah.
being, but again, he'll never do that. No, not him. And yeah, I think if she maybe were a little more vocal,
Yeah.
and maybe him not having, I would say, a veil over
Hmm.
his eyes, certain things would have been, who knows, played out differently. But definitely those red flags, we ignore them. I actually wanted to share, and it's just interesting we're talking about this today because over the past 2 days, I heard a story, and one of them was Marion Jones. You guys remember the athlete, and
Hmm.
she ended up getting locked up for, I think, I don't know if it was 6 months or so. She was interviewed on a podcast, and she actually shared where being locked up, she had to ended up forgiving those people, right? And she had time to, I think she spent 46 days. Help me with the word. It starts with a C. Commentary.
Incarcerated? No, that's an. Uh,
When you're by yourself in a box.
Confinement.
confinement. She was confined for 46 days. And she said they thought they were doing evil against her. But she said in those 46 days, she was able to work out more than she ever did once she trained. She was, and because of her discipline as an athlete, she said it was okay, whether they was feeding her peanut butter and jelly every day for 46 days straight. And coming out of that, she was able to forgive them, let it go, have a family to move on with. And then we think about the story of Joseph, where his family, right, deceived him and he was locked up and he was able, and it reminded me of you, Marcy, when you just shared having an encounter with other people, prophesying, praying, being a counselor. He used you. Who would have ever thought that that
Mhm.
day you would have
Yeah.
been used to do God's work?
Yes.
Joseph was locked up and he was interpreting dreams for the king. His wife ended up deceiving him, stealing his coat to make it seem like he slept with her and he was sent back. But even so, he was able to use his gifts in that time. And God would sometimes remove us from situations to place us in certain places to whether it's develop our calling, you know what I'm saying? And then we have to then turn back and forgive these same people who ill treated us and put us in these positions. But everything happens for a reason. And that's why 70 times 70 plus one plus two, it's a boundless act. And it's just crazy that we have to sometimes
But
go through these
Marcy,
things.
Marcy said with plus one, you're over the limit.
Right. Try Jesus. Don't try me.
Don't try
Try
me.
Jesus. Don't try me.
Oh my gosh. So, Miss Marcy, with you being a mental health advocate as you are, is there any other pieces of nuggets of information you can share with us that our audience and ourselves can take away from this conversation?
Yeah,
Because I do believe we all need to understand that forgiveness absolutely is a path to freedom. But
yeah,
in forgiveness, what can we expect to experience?
Um, just I won't go all the way into it, but when you forgive, um, you go into homeostasis, which is forgiving while fundamentally differently. And it links between homeostasis and forgiveness can be viewed through the lens of overall health and stability, which is
mm,
emotional,
so
Hmm.
true.
stress reduction,
Yeah,
whole, holistic well-being.
Hmm.
And those three things are a show by itself.
Right.
yeah, for sure.
So we're not going to get all the way into it, but just knowing that when you can forgive emotionally, you reduce stress and your holistic well-being is intact. That's a whole nother level of
Hmm. Hmm.
forgiveness.
Yeah.
And but once again, like we said earlier, you got to do this work.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
Mm-mm.
Um, and I'm proud of everybody who has done the work, who is
yeah.
doing the work. And honestly, the work never ends.
It
Yeah.
never
The
ends.
work never ends.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Miss Marcy. When you say
Mhm.
the work never ends, that is fact, because I think each of us have experienced what I like to term as an unearthing. Something has been dug up that you thought you had. That's I'm good. I'm healed from that. Thank you, Lord. I'm good. Yes, you have healed from that piece of that, but
Yeah.
there's something else that gets unearthed. And but with us understanding the necessity of continuing the healing, for me,
Mhm.
and I'll say this till I have no breath to say it again, healing is a journey. It is not some a
Yeah,
one and done. It is continual, because something else you're going to that may appear to be unrelated will trigger that,
yeah,
will trigger whatever that
exactly.
was, right? You'll have a
Mhm.
thought, or something as simple as a smell, a
Mhm.
song, a TV show,
A
or
car.
a car can
Yeah.
trigger
A
a thought.
name.
Thank you. It can trigger you to remember something about that, trigger you to remember something about that that had you.
Mm. Forgive us, Lord.
you
Okay, I'm
get
sorry.
all worked up again. But when you've done the work, though, you've tapped into you build a toolkit. You then can tap into those toolkits, maybe whether it's meditation, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's affirmations, whether it's prayer, whether it's meditation,
Yeah.
whatever it is, because you have done the work. And I keep saying this, because you have done the work, to remind us that it's work to get to this point. It doesn't happen out of the sky. It just doesn't drop on you. It's something that you have to desire. I want to forgive so I can feel better. I want
Yeah.
to forgive so I can get my mind right. I can release the pressure that's in my body. My blood pressure is up, my heart rate is up, my body is breaking down. Why? Because you're carrying all this. So to decide, I want to forgive. One, you have to identify that unforgiveness is what you're carrying around. Because some of us may be so blind that we think our health is deteriorating because it's what we're eating. Sometimes, but maybe not. Maybe it's what's inside, not what you're putting in you, but what's already in you that you've been carrying around for years and disguising it as something else when actually it's that unforgiveness that you're carrying. It's the pain, it's the hurt, it's the disappointment, it's the heartbreak. All of that that's inside of you that you're carrying around for who knows how long
Mm-hmm.
is what needs to be released. And by
Yeah.
doing the work, you can release that and then begin the healing journey, which includes most time forgiveness and even sometimes, a lot of times, forgiving ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's key. I
First.
just
Yeah.
wanted to jump in and say a lot of times we as women um, have a lot of hip issues, a lot of in
Yes.
in our yoni area. Um, but that's where we carry everything. Our pouch,
Mm.
this pouch isn't just because, oh, I ate too much. That's stress, that's unforgiveness, that's hurt, that's pain.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and
That's good.
I know the fact is a lot of us suffer with sciatic nerve
Yes.
issues, back issues in knee, and a lot of it is unresolved stress and
Great
Hmm.
unresolved
points.
forgiveness.
Great
Yeah.
points. Great
That is
points. Oh
good.
my gosh.
That's
I'm
good.
gonna read the one of the affirmations, y'all, and y'all can pick it up, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you, everybody that have joined us for this recording. This is a very important topic, forgiveness, and
Yeah.
there's so much more we can say about this. But I believe we've given you some good information to at least begin the journey
Yes.
of what it takes for you to forgive too. So for me, I embrace the power of forgiveness, knowing it is a gift I give to myself. In letting go of resentment, I reclaim my wholeness and allow love and healing to flow through me.
Gosh, hey.
I love
Mm-hmm,
that. I love
mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
I'll go next. I realize that forgiveness is a process, and it's okay to take my time in letting go of pain.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Real good.
And for me, I choose to forgive myself and others, freeing my heart from the burdens of the past.
Ashe,
Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
All right, y'all. It's been another good one. This is a heavy topic, but it was an important topic that we at least scraped the surface of
Oh,
to
yeah.
get our listeners thinking about this, so they too can get to a point of forgiving themselves, so they then can forgive others. And with that being said, Miss Marcy, Miss Clivia, any other closing words before I give our closing statements?
No,
70 times 70.
Ha! Plus one.
but
It's
not
not
that,
power.
but
Plus
not
one.
that plus one. Try Jesus, don't try me.
Don't try me.
Don't try me.
Over and
Remember,
out.
remember, everybody, if you don't remember anything else we've said today, you are your first priority. Act like it. And with that, we're going to say bye bye until the next time, you
Bye.
guys.